You thinking of doing it on black spot then?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think the best spot, doesn't it?
Okay guys, so if we just start with a little bit of a warm-up drill, so we're just going to do some grip fighting. So just focusing on wrists, elbows, back at arms. We're not doing any leg attacks or anything like that. No head contact just yet. Just get warmed up. So Kev's getting his grips, but I'm actively looking to get mine as well. Yes, I'm looking to get some form of kind of grip. That's basically it. Okay. So see how we get on. Has anyone got any elbow or shoulder injuries? Good? Yeah.
Just the usual.
We're going to keep it that way. Alright, let's go guys. Back arms and armpits as well for your arm drag positions. So if you're struggling getting those wrists, let's start kind of playing around with that. And switch partner. Go. Straight to work. And switch. Last one. Just stand over there, guys. Yeah. Okay. So next drill, we're not actively sparring, so we're not resisting, but just working through into a front headlock position. As I said to Andrew, I'm not here to teach you wrestling. I'm not as good a wrestler as you guys, but let's just look at getting into that position because it'll play onto some of the stuff that we need to troubleshoot as part of the rule set. So however you kind of get to your front headlock, yeah, just making sure that that forearm is going across the throat, because obviously in this rule set, which is slightly different to catches, we've got the option of going for guillotines. So don't get the guillotine yet, but just get into position. Oh, in fact, just everyone's okay with the guillotine? Everyone's done the guillotine before? Yeah. So not too crazy, but just working through getting into that position into a little bit of a guillotine, just so we get a feel for what we're defending in a second. All right, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Just one for one, just working through drilling. We're not resisting. So whatever your front headlock entry is, and then just have a little play, try and get that guillotine as well. So the forearms going across into the throat. That's it. Nice. Yeah. Okay, time. Just let's have a quick look at the mechanics of finishing the guillotine. So when we're into this position, okay, if I'm really tall, I can sometimes get away with kind of lifting up and doing this sort of thing, but I'm not very tall, so I can't do that. So I start off with whatever kind of front headlock position you start with. I really like the chin strap, so I tend to use that to elongate the neck so that I can attack the throat. This arm's going in, yeah, getting my grip here, and then I'm going to roll my shoulder back before I lift. So what a lot of people do is they kind of compensate for the guillotine by lifting up, and it's all about rotating that shoulder back. So when that shoulder goes back, make the gap smaller, and that's the key bit. Yeah. So choke is like a python, wrapping around something and getting that slow squeeze. A lot of people, when they first start doing guillotines, are lifting up, and you'll see a lot of tall people default to that because they get easy taps that way. But like, especially for being a bit of a short person, it's that I'm looking for. So it's everything comes in, elbow goes back, yeah, and kind of tense your pec, but it's that roll back that's going to get the choke. So nice and steady, because we don't have to force it on. It should be like, say, a python's not freaking out at any point, it's just wrapping around slowly, taking away the space, and that's what's getting the guillotine. So let's just have a little go at that finishing mechanic. Okay. Hey mate. That's it. We're not going to spend too long doing this because we all sound funny. We do too long. So we've kind of got an idea about the mechanics now. Oh, sorry fellas, if you just go this side. So I'm going to send the videos over into groups so we've got a bit of a reference point. Alright. So we understand that there's two different ways. Yeah, taller guys, sometimes we'll just stand and just try and pull up to the ceiling to take away the space. That choke ends up being a little bit more on the larynx and the throat, whereas this, we're taking away the space, so we're getting the carotid arteries. So that's the big difference with that. So if Kev gets me into this position, we've got a couple of different things that we can do to try and prevent it. But first one, which we call an early response, depends on him not actually getting a good guillotine and going into the full movement. So if he starts squeezing now and then going up, this is what I would consider a late response. So when I'm getting choked, that's late response stuff that we're going to do. So from this position here, okay, I'm going to grab the elbow, and this might seem a little bit familiar, and I'm going to pull the elbow down. This is going to make it hard for him to take away the space, which is what we just talked about, aren't we? So Kev tries to do and take the space away now. This is an easy thing to do. Okay. The second thing is I'm going to grab the wrist to create space on my throat. Okay. So just decide. So pull, take away the space. Okay. And then the next bit is looking out till we end up in a 2-on-1 Russian side position. Okay. Here, try and choke. Take that space. Matters. Really good. So okay, I can see. Right. Yeah. So I believe I learned that escape here.
Right, yeah.
But I've used it like for jiu-jitsu and defending the guillotine on knees and stood up all the time. So a lot of this is probably stuff like he's teaching me stuff Roy taught me like probably because I learned it here 5 years ago, but it's the action. So grab, create space and look away. Yeah, so follow that arm. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Down here. Because with the guillotine, we've got a couple of different options with our arms. So this is arm out, okay? So our arm's obviously out, and then we've got arm in. So arm in can cause us a little bit of a problem. So Kev, on the outside, we can always grab that elbow and stop that. Now you see how he started to posture up as well? That kills that. So now I'm in a position where I have to make a decision whether I can break that posture down or start scramble. Now because this arm's on the inside as well, this is where he's going to start attacking my legs. He's going to get that good posture. He's going to do all his good wrestling stuff. Okay, so it's good to get that arm in just as an insurance policy. But if it's not there, next thing is posture. Okay, start putting the guillotine on a little bit. So start getting that little bit of a squeeze. So when they've grabbed the elbow, try and break that posture. Try and get that elbow down, keeping his posture, and let's put a little bit of resistance. So what we're saying. Everything today is going to be isolation rounds, a little bit of resistance, not full blown. Try to choke each other because Andrew will kill me. I keep saying it because he's told me like I don't want to be that guy. So let's have a little play at that as well. So here, can't get your fingers on the inside because the squeeze is going on a little bit more now. Yeah, pull the elbow and look for that good posture. If you want to add takedowns or your next move, feel free, but tell your partner. Don't just start suplexing them and stuff. Okay, alright.
But when you got the arm in like that, then it looks like the fireman's, you're almost set up for a fireman's carry.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm not here to teach you wrestling. I'm not a wrestling coach. You've got far better wrestling coaches. In that kind of scenario where he's got an arm underneath the armpit, I can create that separation. That's when I'm just going to pull to attach. So like I'm attached to him now, so it's going to be much easier to look around and start going into my back control positions. When we think about the rule set as well, like heels over head scores you 4 points for the takedown. So if you start going into takedowns with suplexes and stuff, which is that position, then you score 4 points. If you land and you take the back from that position, from a throw, you score another couple of points. I think it's 3. I'll double check in a second. Yeah, so we're not playing for points, But if you've got that in mind, that you know this is how we're going to wrap them up, then that's great.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Here we go on 3. 1, 2, 3. No suplexes, unless you get the crash mat out. Okay, guys, just come in. And if the other thing as well, if we're going through this too quick, let me know. And you want a bit more time drilling it, absolutely fine. I'll borrow Marcus. So this is going to be our late response. So this is where the choke is now starting to go in. The good thing about this position from a catch point of view is he cannot pull guard. He's not allowed to jump into guard. He's not allowed to sit into guard. So we don't have that problem. We don't need to worry about it. So we can assume that the only thing he can do if he can't complete the choke is a snap down. So that's where he's going to start bringing me down to the mat. So the late response, so this is the early response. I can move all this, he starts getting a little bit tighter. So now that's that's harder to pull this elbow back because everything's engaged. Can't get my hand inside, it's going to make it a significant problem. So what I need to do is, if I can't create posture, I need to break his posture. Okay, so if I can't create that posture to start that separation, I need to affect his posture. So this hand's going to go all the way over onto the back, and I'm going to pull my elbow down. So this is now making it much more difficult for him to get into that finishing position. Separate the hands, same position again. Okay, so here, gotta put the choke on a bit. And I'm looking up all the time. My head looks up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
If there's a little bit of a kink there, he can read guillotine and break my posture. Get to there, he tries to do the same.
Yeah. No.
It's really difficult for him to break that posture back down. Okay, so let's just rep that a little bit.
So, do you need to grab the elbow as well? When you do shoulder, would you grab the elbow or?
So, great question. So, I grab the elbow, but nothing happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so like he's got that good squeeze, I'm pulling it and it's not really doing anything. If I can do that, then I can always try and dig in and do this. So this is like, it's a good squeeze. Right.
Okay.
Sort of moving the mountain to my hand.
Yeah. So you're always doing something with posture, aren't you? Yeah. You know, and that's kind of this. And I guess it not having a guard pull is brilliant because we don't need to worry about that. Because as we're going through the rules and stuff, or like if someone can get a guillotine and go into guard pull or throwing guard and they get onto the hip, which most people are going to do, we've got problems. So early response and posture up should always be a default and probably what you need to rep and warm up with. So like you can do this as a bit of a warm up. So yeah, through. Yeah. So just 1 for 1. Don't have to be a mad snap down, but just getting used to that good posture, that deadlift position. Yeah. So we can even put the hand on the inside and start lifting as well. So it gives us a few different options. Have a play anyway. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
You've got to take that, I can't get it in.
Oh, beautiful. And separate the hands. Out. Beautiful.
Yeah, cool.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bit of
Nice. So separate the hands around. Beautiful.
Reach up on the shoulder and get spread there. That's it. Don't put it back in. Just put it down here. Yeah, so come in.
So can I just adjust your hands? That's really good, but I think we can probably make it a little bit tighter. So take the hand over the shoulder. Okay. So stick that hand to there. So when you drop your elbow, you're pulling the body as well. Now look up to the ceiling. Separate the hands.
there you go.
Come right. Or whatever you do. Wrestling stylers. This is like old school traditional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This is like your Gracie self-defense stuff, but it's stuff I use all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really.
I use it a lot. I really like it for here. So like that attachment, you know, it gives me that little pull,
Right.
and then I can start kind of using it to move it around. So it's, imagine your hand stuck to the back. So if it's stuck to the back, when you move that hand back, the back's going to come with it as well.
Right. Yeah.
And you can
Nice, beautiful.
go to the elbows. as well.
What's the point from that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're a bit taller, Marcus. So you're not right.
Yeah,
Posture.
well
You
better.
might be a little bit lazy.
That
so
hand position.
You're going to have to break the posture.
Do a difference.
So like once, yeah, there's no like easy, there's nothing easy you can't do. So like when we're practicing this, I'm not putting the job on, but I'm not letting you break my posture unless you attach, then.
Yeah, the closer in I get, the easier it is for me
And
to...
you can lift as well, so like when we get to the hip, once a bit more stretch, and then
Oh yeah.
start lifting.
Yeah.
But it's that posture, and it's all about that good,
Yeah.
strong.
Sorry, I was doing something.
No,
is this good? Yes, it's
different,
nice.
it's a different
Oh, sorry.
opportunity to do the same thing.
Nice.
So, we just got a marker.
Yeah.
We're just sort of talking about kind of sometimes when we have a good posture, we end up lifting the person as well, and this gives us some opportunities maybe for a bit of a different throw as well, or a takedown. So again, no separation there, break the posture, back posturing up. So even though Marcus is taller than me, see his hips are coming up because he's really wanting this guillotine. So he's got that tighter squeeze. So this is when it's much easier now to start just picking them up. I'm not teaching a takedown, you can kind of, but like you're already in that position, and it's that good deadlift position. Head's looking up to the ceiling, and then do you want to have a little go at that lift?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the guillotine's going to have to be tight. Okay. So if I do one on Marcus, he's not going to throw me, he's not going to stop me. He's going to look up. So I'm still going for that throw. He's going to get his arm on the inside.
Right, yeah.
So,
I didn't think it was there, but then it was quite easy really.
yeah. Head's doing everything. Head and legs, good posture, and then the last bit's just that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was much lighter than I thought it was.
Thanks, Marcus. I needed that a little bit of confidence. I know no one said anything about me like over the last 3 months. So I appreciate that. Nice, that's it. So right up top right, that's it. Nice. Up, round, through, in.
Oh my god.
I'm
Not touching them that.
Probably some people not strikeouts in wrestling.
On him as well. I've actually did that a few times in here. People go for like they just lift my leg. Like I remember the last time I was in here, I was like the one. Yeah.
Last couple of those guys, and then we'll grab a quick drink. Nice. Nice.
I'm going to give my neck.
Break his posture first. Then look up. Look up now. Lift.
Here.
Yeah. Because you still need to prevent that guillotine. So if you're not breaking, if you're not creating posture, then you'll be able to break you down all the time. So from here, just try now. So we try and lift me without the breaking my posture. It's going to be really difficult. So break my posture. Look up. There we go. And then from there, that's when. Yeah. So you've got to defend the choke first before you go for the lift. Because the lift's fun, isn't it? It's really good, but like, remember what we're doing, we're defending first. So safety first, good posture, lifting the box at work, making sure everything's safe earlier.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Guys, grab a quick drink.
Cheers, Johnny.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
So,
One day, I'm sure.
it was like a little bit of a leap. Like I say, I'm kind of focusing on positions where chokes are usually kind of attacked. So we're going to start with back control and just have a little look at that. We'll start with kind of seats, so Kev, if you sit your one down there first. And just talk about kind of controlling back control and kind of what the goal is. Obviously the goal is to strangle Kev, and what we tend to see a lot in kind of more modern jiu-jitsu and submission grappling is people are not just launching back like this into this position. Especially for the rule set that you guys are doing. If you do that, I get pinned. People usually work towards what we call a power side, or what I call a power side. Okay, so from here, my power side is my left side, so whichever my underhook is. This position here is what's called a seatbelt, or I call it a seatbelt. Again, if I'm using terminology that's not familiar or you don't like using, apologies. I'll just go through mine and then you can use yours later. into here, and then I'm going to fall to this side. So obviously this is going to help us kind of not get pinned as an attacker. So we're going to look at kind of defending this position and what our goals are. So I'll text my back. Okay, we're going to assume that people know to fall to the power side, so this side here. Okay, so first thing I need to worry about is obviously the attacking arm. So whichever arm's underneath, yeah, that's kind of controlling, that's usually grabbing my wrist to start pulling this arm across and doing that. But before I even worry about what he's going to do, I need to get into this position where I'm controlling that top arm, because that's the threat, okay? Some people kind of go to toes and go to some of the old shin break stuff for a catch. That's great, but you may be getting choked off, it's bad at that point. So going back to safety first, hands on the inside, okay, making sure that we can't get choked first of all, okay? So from this position, I want to try and straighten this arm out, okay? So now I'm really reducing his potential to choke, okay? So once we get to here, okay, just try and clear your arms, yeah, and go, okay? So really try and clear that arm. So I'm keeping his arm straight. If there's a slight bend, this is where he can like move his arm, move his elbow, start creating different angles, which can be harder to control. So as soon as I go straight into here, yeah, this arm, his shoulder's straight, his elbow's straight, so he doesn't have the same sort of angles. I'm also going to pinch my head in to this position, yeah, to get that control. So, okay, so I'm going to go to here, take the power side, yeah, I'm going to hold like a baseball bat. I like to use the thumb, okay, there's a little bit of a grip, and then from here, into the side. We'll just practice that a couple of times. Okay. Oh. Okay, time guys.
Yeah, well, I was getting my weight on that one.
Sorry guys, if we all come around this way and we'll sit this way. So again, he goes into that same position, defending that attacking arm first. He's the one who's making the choice to go that way. If I have a choice, I'd go over towards the top arm. Okay, but we're going to look at worst case scenarios where he understands that he probably wants to be this side. Again, this can be quite hard to control, especially like if you, it can be quite hard to control. One of the things we're just talking about to Marcus and Craig, and this is something I like as well, is I'm going to switch the arm over to the other side. Now that's never that easy. There's a battle. So Kev's going to try and clear the arm. That was just squishing, but I'm always keeping my head attached. So I'm scraping it over my head, and then I'm tucking my ear in. And then from this position, this is where we might want to start looking to turn. Now, this is where, again, we probably need to clarify the points when you with Josh. But if I start turning into a guard position, that's a reversal, so that's going to score you some points. I assume that would be a reversal because you're from a defending position into a top position, as the rules are set out. I think that would be a reversal. Okay, so let's just have a little play though. So everything we're just working on straight. When we get to here, just be a little bit careful of the elbow that you're not hyperextending it. Okay, Kev's going to try and get my back or just move. I'm going to try and get my reversal. So we'll go. Okay. And then let's have a little bit of activity. Let's be active with it. So try and defend. Just crushing your partner all the time. Give him a bone. Throw him a bone. Okay. Yeah. Just getting used to the rule set. And go. So creating an attack, you're trying to escape Marcus. Try and turn into him. So keep going, keep going, keep going. Yeah. Maybe like 30 seconds worth of work and then switch.
It's a little bit more effort than that one there.
Yeah.
Here. School.
Set straight out, send that choke down, go to the top now, you can start looking at the escape. So get to your knees, into your knees, into your knees, into your knees, turn in, hands in. That's it. Beautiful.
Yes, sorry.
The weight session.
He didn't try and strangle me. I just held up there.
Try and strangle this now. Right, you got it.
I'm not going to do that. Am I? You just hold on. I'm just going to grab your elbow.
That's it now. Scrape your back against the floor and look into it. That's it. Watch your knees. That's the next.
Yeah.
Cool.
No.
That's good. Yeah. Whole pressure session.
We want a little bit of resistance, so we want these kind of problems where it's like, actually, if I do that, I end up in this position. So
Yeah.
it's all good. Like, as long as we're not hurting each other and stuff, we can a little bit of resistance and trouble. Can't finish you in the guard. So
No, you might.
Josh calls it wrestling scissors. So it doesn't matter whether it's open or closed, you can't pin from full guard. So that's what you then start looking at kind of
Half guard?
Half guard is a pin. So I asked that question because half guard, quarter guard, anything that's not both legs.
Both legs are on the big.
Yeah, it's a pin. So anytime we when looking half guard, we need on the side as quickly as possible, and then start looking like that. Half guard on the side, not.
I guess that's really nice at any time, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe when I was younger. Okay, time. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of troubleshooting. Were anyone getting stuck with any positions or any kind of any part of the
Drinking that initial grip.
the initial grip?
Yeah, once that's gone, okay, I feel like I'm going
Great.
to.
Where are you? Because you've got really good back control.
And it's not going to be easy, like, especially from this position here. But I'm digging my hands on the inside, and then I'm trying to get both thumbs in.
Yeah.
That helps a little bit. It's never going to fully clear the grip and stuff.
If I may, it also works on the
Sure.
assumption he's going to try and strangle you.
Yeah.
If all he does is hold on, all Mark has to do is grab my elbow on the top side with this hand, grab that elbow, and he'll be able to grab the elbow fully. You'll be able to turn into it now, definitely. If all I'm doing is holding on,
Yeah.
now as soon as I start trying to attack,
Well,
yeah, that way, yeah. He'll,
so let's add that in as well. Yeah. So Craig, you show that because it's. But I find like getting my thumbs on the inside helps kind of clear the grip a little bit.
but I've not done this. So if soon as if Mark's here and if he's going to try and strangle me, I agree completely, and this is where we're going to go to 100%. But if he's just holding on, and I feel like he's just holding on, don't worry. Grab that, turn in, put him down, and come through.
You're turning towards the side of the arm that's around you.
Yeah,
Right.
you're climbing up it essentially.
Right.
Like you can do it if you've got really long arms. You'll be able to do all this. You might be able to grab his head.
Yeah.
You pin him down, but you will be able to climb up him like that if all he's doing is holding on. As soon as his arm goes under your armpit, if I'm here and my arm goes under your armpit, so grab the elbow and then pull it on your armpit, I can't strangle him now.
Right, gotcha.
I cannot strangle him. I've got to get that arm out of here to strangle him.
Yeah.
I could try and strangle him here, but this is going to keep him safe.
Mm.
This is like, I'm not going to get him. I'm just not going to get him. And now all he has to do is work on putting that part of his head on the mat, fully on the mat, and then just start powering into him, climbing up that arm. And I'm going to be on a road to nowhere.
So that's a good option from good side. So like his power side, that's going to be a little bit difficult. Let's do that because it's good to have that alternative as well. So like you've gone defender's power side. Yeah, have a go at the elbow. Are you alright to coach that? Because I've not done that before.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
have a
fine,
quick
fine,
look around
fine,
and then
yeah.
we'll look at the back scrape, which is going back to back position again where things are going a bit wrong for us. Cool, let's go. Cheers, Greg. Yeah. Hold on, it's so like you never win. Like, what are we doing now? Oh, this guy's proven this, right? Oh, brilliant. But if we kind of look at the negative sort of side of it again. So Marcus is forcing me this way into this position. So like I was saying about kind of when you watch people like Gordon Ryan and people like that, their head's tucked. So it's a lot harder to do what's called a back scrape. And back scrape's my favourite escape. This is the one where at 44, I assume I'm going to be put in the worst position. I'm going to have someone try to strangle me, and my movement is very limited. Okay, so I've acknowledged that in my life. It's not getting any better, it is what it is. So I'm going to assume that people know to do this and have already got this arm across. So creating that separation helps a little bit, but I'm going to use the back of my head to try and scrape and then look in towards the bicep. If I can look at his bicep, he can't choke me.
Yeah.
So choke me.
No.
It's really difficult.
Yeah.
Don't do that, obviously, like, but like just as a kind of an example. So the next bit is I want to try and scrape Marcus off my back, because if we think of back control as a percentage, so at the moment Marcus is probably 80% on my back, maybe even 90. Okay, so I want to change that. So I'm going to use my shoulders, to start scraping Marcus off my back.
50%, right.
Yeah, and then my head kind of looking up, and again it's down to that posture sort of thing, looking at the bicep. It makes it hard for him to kind of retake my back and keep that control.
Especially because you've got my legs stuck here as well.
So I'm kind of I'm focusing on scraping my back, but sometimes that leg does open up where we can start moving our hip. Now, when we get to kind of around 50%, there's a decision that he needs to make. Is he going to try and keep the back, or is he going to scramble? Okay, so at this point, he might start trying to scramble up. So that's when we need to start thinking about scrambling out, and this is where our shrimping comes in. This kind of rule set where we're using that to take our hip away and then also create space where we can get onto our knees.
Are you framing on him to get the clearance?
Yeah, so it's a really good point. So at the moment, I know I'm losing. Okay, so he's 100%. So I'm going to use my head, scrape it here, maybe 95. Shoulders looking in towards the bicep, maybe about 80. Okay, he already starts feeling that he's losing the position. So this hand is already looking at pushing this knee, okay? Because if I don't, he mounts me. Yeah. All throughout that, until I get onto my knees, I'm losing. I'm not looking to attack. I'm looking to escape the position. So I'm always kind of looking at the next bit. So when that knee slides off, that hand's ready to block that mount transition, and this other hand creating space and shrimping. So you kind of end up in this. As you're scraping out 50%, this hand's already blocking. Shrimp out onto your knees. Okay. Let's have a go at that. See how we go. Nice. Thank you. Just working through it at the moment. I want my heels pinched like we're doing. We've got like jiu-jitsu feet, so I'm pulling my heels in a little bit onto my side. Then starts working through. Okay, so when you get to here, like 50%, that's when I want you to scramble. So you say go. Okay, go. Yeah, and just have a little play at kind of that unscripted scramble. Yeah, and this is where you'll probably find there'll be a particular direction which will work really well for you. So as you're scrambling out, you know, you're moving your hip, forcing onto your shoulders to then come on top might work really well. You might just want to run away, so you create that gap and use that to create a little bit of distance. So that's the bit where we go live. It's only for a couple of seconds, yeah. But the top person, try and mount, try and control. Bottom person, try and escape. Okay, let's just have a couple of rounds of that. All right, just 10 seconds of a look at the scramble. Okay, that's the same position. We're just probably worth considering again, going back to the points and the rule set. Yeah, so starts working through. Yeah, go. Hits his escape, stands up. He's scored on a point for an escape there because he's no longer attached.
Right.
Okay, so if you think about the scramble, yeah, if you go and re-gauge straight away, how many points do you get for a reversal? So this is where you need to make a decision, don't you? So you get more points for a reversal than you do an escape. But if there's an opportunity where he might take you down, you've scored nothing. So with your partner, you've got to think about, do I need to escape to score my point, or can I re-engage, control position, and score a reversal?
Is there what are the positions from which you can score a reversal?
So from what Josh,
sorry, no, from where you can score an escape.
so
Is it only back? Is it full guard? Is it half guard?
So the only way that you score an escape is Kev's on top. So I magically move Kev away.
Yeah.
I detach, stand up, and there's no connection.
Right. Okay. So any
That's an escape.
bottom semi-controlled position you can escape from.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird because I'm guessing if in wrestler's position Kev stood up, and walked away, he doesn't score anything. Because he's not escaping, he's in a dominant position. But if he's reversed me, like in that scenario there, he scored 2 points instead of 1 point. So kind of having that in your mind is probably worthwhile, like thinking about and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, last bit of the back stuff. So we've done a lot with the back control from facing the ceiling. So the last bit is, I'm not going to go through too much, but it's something I like. I still use a lot. It comes from Eric Paulson. If I just borrow Marcus a second. If you just get back control hooks in. Okay, so from obviously this position here, he says what his hooks actually in. I'm going to create a little bit of a tripod because it does help a little bit with the choke. I'm going to tuck my chin in so he can't get that clear choke in this position. But I'm going to then posture up with my legs. Okay, so the goal from this position is to try and get a knee in between Marcus' feet. So I'm going to come up through, bring that knee in, second knee if possible. But if you end up with one, that's when you can then start looking at controlling that side and looking for that throw. And it's never that easy.
It's a bit like the pummeling exercise, isn't it? But with your legs.
It's what Paulson calls leg pummeling.
Right.
So it's just do it as a little bit of a drill. Yeah, just get used to kind of having some weight on top of you and just being in that position where we're here, we can have good control and we can work that leg in and separate the legs and just have a little plate scrambling.
Right.
Yeah, not going into a live round, but just where would you go?
Would you take his head from there?
I'm sorry, say
Would you
again?
take his head from there?
Potentially, yeah. So if the head's here, grabbing that and then going to the side, bang on. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Like, if I kind of focus on getting both legs on the inside first, because that helps them go directly over because they don't have a single hook. But like that's the kind of stuff. Have you done that before?
I do that,
Yeah. Show us with the head. Show us Marcus.
I can do it from here, by the way, sometimes, but I take the point.
So that's not a pin.
That's what?
That's not a pin.
Because you
It's
see,
got so this is where the rules kind of like make a little bit of difference. I mean, he's not winning. He's not having a great time. But,
Is that because you got the leg in?
it's because he had full guard.
Oh, okay.
Because he had. Well, I'm going to say just to clarify, you probably shouldn't. We shouldn't call it full guard.
Restless.
Because you wouldn't see that as a full guard, would you?
Yeah.
You'd see that as a guy getting squished.
That's the thing.
Right.
Now, if Marcus didn't have that other leg coming up towards Craig's head, like for an armbar position, you could say that that's half guard, which is a pinning position.
Yeah.
So like when Craig came around on that second one,
Even though I cleared the leg, I didn't necessarily need to.
yeah, it's a pin because he's no longer in, and we'll talk about guarding.
You want me to do it again? You can just walk through it slowly bit by bit, so you can clarify what's what. I'll go dead slow.
Right, so at this point, you could argue that this is a half-guarded position because it's not both legs. So when if Marcus came up and started attacking for like an armbar, Craig's got his head a little bit lower, that could be potentially wrestler's scissors.
Right.
But it's also, I don't think you can be pinned while attempting a submission as well, can you?
No.
So even so, there's no kind of guard there, but I can't pin Marcus here.
Yeah.
So this is another thing you need to clear with Josh.
But can I pin him here? Because logically, he'll never armbar him here, but...
Yeah, and this is where you
He's
probably need
You've
to
got almost a cradle, haven't you?
But it's not like that, it's more, forget that. Are you in an armbarring position or not?
I didn't feel like it.
You definitely not, but some people might construe that.
Yeah.
Well, he's got his arms, his legs are up,
Yeah.
he could armbar him, he couldn't, but...
I agree, but these are the scenarios just to have in mind for when you're with Josh, like,
Yeah.
are we scoring from this position?
Yeah.
You know, is this a thing? Because like we've had, and I've done and I'll put it on the group as well, like I've done a little sheet of kind of what seems to be the rules according to Josh, but that is a really good question. Like I'm not sure, I'm not confident enough to go, yeah, you've been submitted or you're not.
Yeah, because you do kind of see that a lot, and then they start hooking this leg and trying to straighten them out like that. They're in them.
But like from there, you're going, and this is where we have to be careful. You're rocking back on the two shoulders. So like,
well, the way you're armbarring him earlier, you pass it off to the hip, push it down, and then you're probably better doing what you're probably thinking is about to happen, which is spinning for an omoplata anyway.
yeah.
So it's...
So we need to clarify what, like, so what are you, Johnny?
Yeah, well, during that week, I'm just going to grab Josh and like,
Yeah,
what's this?
So that's not, for
for me, I feel like that's not, even though a double wrist lock, that's not submission there. But I feel like that's it. Do you know what I mean? But it depends how Josh determines. Like if he was, if I was on my back.
You're going for a submission.
Yeah, you know, going
Go to your back, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so if Johnny's got hold of his own thigh, do you know what I mean?
Go put pin on it, but with that bit on there.
So for me, I feel like I'm getting pinned, but
Yeah, but I think because you're going for the submission.
yeah, so we need to clarify.
I know what Kev's saying.
It's not really.
If he's got a good grip,
Yeah,
we can be there all day.
Yeah.
But if Kev gets the arm out, get the arm out, Kev. Let him get the arm out.
We're gonna pull it out
Yeah,
there.
now, obviously, we're in and if Johnny's super flexible, Kev might be pinning for 4 seconds, but
Right,
he's sat there going, not tapping, but
Yeah, that's what we need to clarify with Josh, don't we?
Because like that's a submission attempt. Like it doesn't like even if it's pinned, like you're still.
So
you are,
that's why.
how credible's a threat, I guess, would be the
So,
summary.
so one of the problems we've got, and this is one of the questions I asked Josh, like in Sambo, the ref will come over and they'll signal what's called a painful hold. So there's a submission in attempt. So until that person let goes of that submission or the person escapes, you're not scoring pins, you're not scoring times and stuff like that. So the referee will come over and go painful hold. So like they've got 45 seconds to finish the submission or they get stuck back up.
Right.
I think in future ones, what Josh said to Andrew when I asked the questions, I think he's going to do that. So there'll be a signal of like submissions on. So and then submissions gone. Now pins are enabled. And I think that's probably something to have a chat with Josh about. Like maybe that's good to have that referee give that indication. So there's no like confusion, is there?
Mind you, we're only 2 weeks away, aren't we, from the comp, so he might not want to injure, but that's it. I like that. We need to clarify that in anyway.
Yeah, we've got a whole week.
And we need someone who's going to, like, for every match, someone who's clued up with it all.
Yeah.
So, you know, it can't be me because I'm out of the match. So, you know, I think a couple of people need to be clued up fully on, like, that's you can be pinned now, you can't be pinned now, that sort of thing.
And that's okay, so that's something to kind of have a chat around, like, so that, you know, you've got effective coaches, like, you know, like, detach, you know, or right squad, you
keep it on.
or you've seen that person's got really good scramble, then you like go for your escape point, so rather than re-engaging straight away to get your reversal, you know, and it's kind of that pattern. Do you want to have a quick go at the leg pummel? And then grab a quick drink, guys. So your left elbow, if you start bringing that down a little bit, to release the pressure a little. Now bring your left knee in towards your right knee. And roll to your left side. So, and then try and strip it back and then go over.
I'll let go as soon as he does that.
I think he took advantage of that. Craig were very nice.
How he wrestles.
He's a person, how we're doing stuff. Okay. Cool. Okay. So Kev kind of mentioned the guard passing sort of side of stuff. One of the things I was kind of thinking about is how to stand in guard. I know it sounds stupid, but there are a lot of easy sweeps that we kind of need to be a little bit careful of when we're in a guard position. So we'll do that. We'll just fly through that a little bit quicker than what we're hoping to do, because there's darts as well, which I think is probably worth going through, just because of the side position that we're going to be in. Marcus, before you, so, and I'm going to refer to this as wrestling scissors, because it's a really good point. Like Josh is referring to this as wrestling scissors. Every time I've asked a question about guard, Josh has put wrestling scissors. So like, let's just have that in our head and stuff like that. So like from this position here, like the first battle that we've usually got is, again, posture. Posture is really important. So Marcus is going to try and bring his knees to nose to keep breaking my posture. I'm trying to keep posture. One of the things that I always kind of focus on when I'm teaching guard, and apologies if you, like everyone's at different levels and stuff, is I never want to have my hands by his nipples. Okay, so from this position, this is where the arms are straight, and it's going to be much easier for him to start creating angles and work around my joints. And that's the key with guard. It's not necessarily moving the person, it's being in a position where you've isolated the limb and then you're using that movement around the limb to attack it. Okay, so being in this position is never good. There's obviously some people who like the armpit control to stand and pass and stuff like that, but as a general thing, I tend to have my hands like Diamond Dallas Page sort of style, but a little bit off to the side. Okay, from here, I feel it's a little harder for him to strip my arms. If my hands are in this position, he can go into the inside and start stripping the hands dead easy. Can use that prayer arm and round as well, so, and then my hands are on the mat, so it's going to be much easier to attack. So that little bit of an angle, yeah, it's hard to get both. The elbow comes in a little bit, so he tries to clear both arms at the same time. So it's a little bit harder, and this is when we can then start looking at getting some form of control. This is going to help us pass guard. Okay, so once we're in this position, we've now got a side without a threat. Okay, so I can stand up without him being able to grab or do anything to my ankle. If I go the other side, he's now able to hook under, grab ankles and start looking for that sort of stuff. So this is why we're going to go this side first of all. Depending on knees and kind of just mobility and stuff, some people might need to do a little bit of a rock. So like you're going to kind of rock and then throw that foot up. But you see my posture? Posture's always going up. I'm not leaning over. Straight away, Marcus goes knees to nose, starts breaking my posture down. So from here, he's going to give me that little check. Okay, engage my abs, making sure you don't have to be looking at behind as long as your posture's up here. Okay. Next bit, and this is the threat that I need to be cautious of. It's usually easy to control one arm. Two arms can be a little bit harder. So I'm just going to take that foot back a little bit.
Right.
Okay, and then posture up and just start looking at separating the legs. Okay. So here, get that control and try to get the arm out. Yeah, so like you're pinning it into his ribs, into his belly, into his pocket, keeping that control. I'm not applying too much weight, but I'm just focusing on that control. He tries to break posture. Tries to break posture, that's it. Stand up, slight angle, open the guard, and then we'll start looking at passing in a second.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Greg, I don't know if you've got anything different, you do all different from a jiu-jitsu point of view.
So if you want that.
Yeah. So try and break the posture.
Yeah.
So come out.
Okay, yeah.
Does
Does it matter if it's, do you want it more over there or does it matter?
So, I mean, as long as you can pin, so like if it's there, I can switch it down.
Right, okay.
It makes it easier.
Yeah.
So like you've got to take your arm all the way over.
Yeah.
If the arm goes down, I've got like an opportunity to stop chasing it.
Right,
Or
yeah.
like if it's there, the arm goes out.
Yeah.
Then having to grab my golden heel, just
Yeah.
chasing the arm or go back to the arm.
Yeah, yeah.
Glad the reference.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
There's usually one wrestling guy in the class who gets it.
There's a few of them in here. Actually, James.
Stand there just so you can see what Craig's doing with his legs.
So, exactly as Mark's showing, I'm just doing whatever I can to get 2-on-1. I always want 2-on-1 if I can. Pin it, and then I'm going to usually a little bit I'll do this, including Marcus. If I can do it, you can do this. Which is, I'm going to push my way into him, and I'm just going to spring load up, like that. I'm not like, so if I've been caught in a heel hook and I've lost mobility, and I step, turn my back leg, so I'm in like a running man position here, and I run into my standing position, and if I can keep that back, of course. But we're all pretty athletic. We'll be able to skip all that. Here. And then from there, keep that grip. Now, look at my back, right? I'm here, I'm not here. I'm here. Anybody deadlift? Deadlift position. But with a slightly squat, like slight lunge here, and then strong. Break. And whatever guard pass you personally like to do from there. Put that jump up, really good.
Yeah, that's the angle that like that's a way better explanation and a way better example. Like that's something that we've just started adding, is that kind of out onto an angle and up rather than kind of that old school standing. We are trying to add that into a lot of our drills and things because it just gives you that dynamic approach and that quicker stand up. So it's a lot harder for Marcus to start setting on heels. So when Craig going through that so quick, you're kind of chasing, but then you've got that momentum taking you out to the side, which I think makes it really hard. That's quality of that.
In answer to your question, what I actually do, I'm not advocating we do this, but if someone's got me in guard, I'm probably going to do this, right? Which is, I come here, jump up and I bait the lumberjack sweep.
What, this one?
So Marcus does that, he goes for the sweep, and I will swim my legs. But That's because I've been there 1,000 times and I quite
Yeah.
like the idea of him going for that. And like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like, this isn't about adding a load of new techniques. This is about maybe changing a few things into a to a rule set. So like in a week, you've only got a limited amount of stuff that you're going to be able to add into your game, because like say Craig's done that 1,000 times. You know, having that expectation. Think about maybe going into the safer kind of stepping across and doing that, only having one heel forward.
That bit's good to know though, because
Oh, yeah.
if you forget, you're probably going to get caught with that sweep, because it's so easy to get caught with. So what you'll find is you'll be here, Marcus will be trying to sweep me, go like 30%. So, and you'll be doing this, and there's that backwards walk. Don't try and walk backwards, go forwards, and you'll get out of it.
Nice. You'll have the videos, so you should be able to link it up to everything, but we'll make sure that, you know, anything that doesn't make sense you can reference it, but then you've got obviously Craig out there, you know, to kind of answer that from a jiu-jitsu point of view. You've got Marcus there as well, so, and if there's any questions, I'll be on the group as well. Do you want to just practice maybe that more dynamic stand up and then start opening the legs, and then have a go at passing guard, just so I can see where we are with stuff, and then we'll look at a few different things. This is kind of what I want to talk about.
That's the thing. I can't grab you.
So this is where, like,
Talk
from
to my
a
hip.
passing point of view,
And that's
look
gonna be
at a
hard
few
for me to
different
keep.
options with the legs.
Release with this.
With the hips.
Push my,
You can look at
just push with your hand if you can.
full pass, obviously.
All the way to the back.
half guard, still
Knee
up
over the
it,
top.
and then what they're going to do to
Now,
combine,
you should
and
know
then
what I mean.
go into a dance from there. So, I mean, everyone seems to have some passing. Is there any kind of passing people want to go through, or anything specific you're getting stuck with? No?
For me, it's more. Let's say, yeah, he's on his side, let's say, and we got to this position.
Yeah.
And I find this when I'm going up against jiu-jitsu guys, trying to clear here to then end up in a good pinning position. I do, but I end up with against tall, lanky guys, and I can't just clear the legs.
So see, your shoulder here,
Yeah.
this is the biggest part of the knee,
Yeah.
just roll back. Heavy hips, so see where your hips are up,
Yeah.
so like,
Hips down.
bam.
Okay.
You will be like pancakes, so,
Well, let me show you.
and this is what the coach Roger Versio taught me and stuff. So like, over here,
Right. Okay.
like a pancake.
Yeah.
This is what Roger did like his entire career, like, to control. I like that one, I like this underhook,
Yeah.
like just.
So the other thing that you did on the second one is where you had the fist through, so I like that. So again, it's the same position. So kind of just
That's what I was going to highlight actually. He didn't have his fist.
Yeah.
He was being really nice.
Yeah, sure.
So like
Drive it through.
straight there.
Yeah.
So you put your fist on the mat, fist through the middle and on the mat. That's it, yeah.
Right.
So I play that a lot. But
Yeah.
if we just go back to the starting position, really. So like for the rule set that we're working towards, he can get pinned from his position.
Yeah.
So like half guard, quarter guard, anything like that. So like this is where we can still start to think about kind of pinning positions. And stuff.
I was only thinking of this because when I do a Friday class where we teach catch down south, it's in the jiu-jitsu gym.
Yeah.
And although, I mean, they've been learning catch wrestling, but they're much more jiu-jitsu based, and it always ends up in this position.
Yeah.
That's very tricky to pass their goal.
Yeah, I mean, if their knees are low,
Yeah,
they should be able to pass.
That's what I wonder.
Yeah. That's your problem. That's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you're down.
Yeah.
But like that, those passes are, I don't really have anything additional outside of that. So squish the knee, we call it pancake in the knee.
Yeah.
So pancake in the knee, so it goes knee to knee.
Yeah.
And then that should give you the opportunity to either back step or start doing the same sort of pass.
It's really just using your body weight, like he's like, I can't, in this
So
range.
what if you're there and then he's just too strong and you can't pancake that down?
Yeah.
Driving your shoulder.
It feels like I can't grab his force.
So if I may know, if you can't flatten that leg, right, you're gonna have to pass him. Can I jump into you? You have to like, if I cannot clear this leg,
Yeah.
I'm either gonna have to threaten the leg,
Yeah.
so I can come here, and like start trying to do something, threaten his leg.
Yeah, yeah.
If he's just too long, I just can't reach him, you're gonna have to either disengage, stop playing that game, the game's not working for you.
Yeah.
Probably not enough time in 2 weeks, but although the other thing you can do is like slightly more dynamic pass. So however I'm here, I'm gonna attack not this leg, I'm gonna attack this leg. I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna go that way. Here, I want to kill that leg there.
Right, okay.
Now from there, I've got a multitude of like classic guard passes I can do. Under pass in, but given how the style we've got, we probably don't want to invite the guy to re-guard.
Yeah.
Assuming you can get here, this is really important by the way, my shin killing that hit there.
Yeah.
Assuming you can get here, sprawl.
Okay.
And then now he probably, if he's got a good guard from there, he's going to start to reset.
Right.
Because in competition, they're only going to guard on one side, really, probably. None of that good on both.
Yeah.
They're going to have a good technique to get back, but when I'm here, I just can't get past that. I agree. All of that stuff, I agree with all that.
Yeah.
But if I just can't get past this, I need to stop fighting.
Is it just me, or do some of you guys struggle to get past?
Yeah.
It's a hard position, like but like it's because like it's the angle. Because it's correct. It's like right, when we start changing the angle, it's like that's where it's all about this knee. If it's up, it's strong. When it's down, it's weak.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, 100%. We've not got long.
No.
For me, if there's a game you're playing and it's not working, stop playing.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
You know, if I'm here and I can't, he's just not too good of a guard. I'm just going to stand up.
Yeah.
And if I can, stand on his leg, pass it, I'll do whatever I can in the rule set, and sometimes slightly grey areas, to get past his guard, or I'll just attack his legs. You know, if I'm here, and I can bait him into something like this, I might just come and start to crank his leg. I'll do. I know heel hooks aren't allowed, but I can do something to threaten him maybe, or I can just. It's not a heel hook, but it'll be hurting his knee. But, you know, there's stuff I can do that. Just stop trying to play their game, I'd say, is, you know, say if I'm stuck here, and the guy keeps breaking my posture, and I'm trying to like, you'll never go through a good guard, you've got to go around it. Yeah. So if I'm here, and I'm trying to play all this stuff, it's not working, I will just, I'm not playing that game. It's done.
And this is what we were talking about earlier on, so if we are in these kind of positions, anything which ends up taking back this way, for this rule set, he's going to actively try and get up, scramble, get inside. So you're not going to be in this kind of
that's a really good
headquarter position. So like from a jiu-jitsu point of view, that's literally everything. The only other thing I do from kind of here is sometimes I'll try and pummel in and then go into that basic passing. But like that really depends on the person. If they've got a really good guard, I don't want that leg on my shoulder. But like from this kind of rule set, we've got to keep in mind that we're not going to be able to actually turn someone onto this position without then creating a scramble.
Because they're going to get pinned.
Pinned because they're half guard. So that's the other thing. The only other thing I wanted to talk about today, just to kind of play through is dancing, because he's not going to accept back because he's going to get pinned and lose. So everything's going to be a game from this kind of side control position. So if we just have a look at the kind of dance and what we're trying to achieve, a lot of this comes from, I feel, having bad underhooks from bottom position. So if someone underhooks me and wraps over and holds, that's brilliant. You're giving me everything that I want. When they point up to the ceiling with a straight arm, so straighten your arm up and point up to the ceiling, point your finger up to the ceiling. That's it there. That's a lot harder because you're creating that separation again. And it just goes back to everything we were talking about today. It's creating separation between the choking arms, and that's going to help you get out. So from this position here, this hand's going to shoot through under, and I'm going to try and take his thumb as close to his ear as possible, and this is what's going to break his underhook arm and his control. Okay. The next thing is same as what we were talking about when we were doing the guillotine choke. Is I want to squish everything in nice and tight. So that hand comes in nice and deep, tight, nice and deep. Thank you very much. Okay. This hand's going to go over, so we're in that kind of Japanese necktie. Yeah. And then I'm going to just break his posture by bringing his chin down, and then from here, hand to bicep, and that's what's going to create the choke. So if we reverse that, what do we need to do? to escape. So if we reverse, so
What do you need to do to stop it dancing you?
first things first, like the elbow. Like the elbow,
This one?
essentially. That's it. So what was the last thing I did before I started attacking, before I attacked the... Yeah, so, we're here, look up. Create separation, okay? So that's going to help you significantly, that last battle, which is then trying to bring your chin down towards your bicep, so into that position.
So I guess you want to bring your elbow in.
Elbow in,
Head up.
helps. Head up, but head up.
Yeah.
Same as a guillotine if we can. Head up straight away, and that's going to help do that. So, has everyone done Darcy's before? Okay. So, if we get into a Darce position, so maybe switch up a little bit. You Darce, sorry. Yeah, cool. Okay, I'll just go with partners. So get into that Darce position. Have a feel of the squeeze, and then go back into the Darce position and start thinking about keeping that head up nice and tall. Okay, as the first line of defence. Okay, let's go.
Just get this, start to set the dark position.
So shoot that arm
And start to defend.
Yeah, feel Darce.
Yeah.
Elbow down, head up, that's it. Don't go on your back. Yeah, so go into the habit of kind of turning and going onto your back, so separation.
Sorry. There we go.
Start working to get out, get onto your knees, but not on your back.
So, well, he's doing like that. So bringing everything to
Pull my elbow out, that's the only bit.
grabbing your bicep.
Both things pulling that. Hold it down to this wrist. Couldn't hold it on your wrist.
Elbow down. Sometimes separation of the arms. Don't go on your back, don't go on your back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like he's kind of rolling onto his back and then that's what that pain.
That's what
You want to
really
like
want
to
to
start.
Right.
And you want to do.
like sometimes
You just want to go with your right hand on the ship.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah.
I'm doing that with my leg, by the way.
I think it's good as well to like different mentality as well with how it's
And then scramble T knees. So we just program that.
I think like next year, if you get your body gauge in the area, just like
yeah, so
just like that's
yeah, that's I just feel weak there.
yeah.
But I felt pretty good. More, sorry.
Look up.
Onto your knees. Nice.
Yeah. That, yeah, the hips.
Near elbow, escape. Beautiful. Head up, last bit. Right elbow down to your knee. Right elbow down to your knee.
You ready?
Sorry, just a bit of practicing it, like, you need to try and get this elbow down, that's a bit of space.
If it gets late like that, that's when you grab your leg.
Can't hold it, can't hold it, I have to hold it out.
You ready?
Hold back, don't swing to me
Elbow
out.
down. Onto your knees.
Okay.
Get space before my knees.
Yeah, I don't know. I have something I got with that.
Circling, interpretation, there's definitely some stuff which I think you guys, grab Josh and just go through it, but, just...
Are there anywhere you've identified potentially some cranks that I think Josh's guys will be ready for cranks, but I think like North America might not be as ready for cranks. Are there any spots where you think we should be trying to get some quick kills, potentially with a crank, because they're just not going to be used to it?
Absolutely. Like when they go face down, so you're going with the freestyle guys face down. They're the rules against going across the face line, the nose line, and stuff like that. Use that to then get into a position where you can choke as well. So like that's all the horrible stuff you already know, which use it. The people are not going to be in a position, and I think from maybe some of the scrambles as well, and because some of the positions is probably going to be a little bit foreign, like back control. Where you start that scramble, you may get into some positions where you end up with them face down or on the back. Pull them. As well, like you're not letting them make friends, are you? Like take the forearm across and club them. You know, especially like BJJ guys, like, they're not built for that. They're not built for the horrible stuff that you guys are doing day in, day out. And it's not horrible stuff, but it's the stuff that works.
Yeah.
You know, like make them uncomfortable, dragging the hips down. I think that's probably the one that stood out. I think I've looked at it more from a, right, what are the things that could be a problem if we don't kind of think about, because it's not in the catch rule set. But the good thing is we've got lots of different people who've done lots of different styles. So, you know, like you can do these isolation drills throughout your preparation. Doesn't have to be full pelt, it doesn't have to be 100%, but you can kind of just work through it as a pattern, just so that, yeah, you're not learning anything, but just do it as a warm-up drill. It's kind of how I tried to structure it, so like we do a little bit of learning and then let's try it. Let's just, yeah, it don't have to be 100%, but let's think about the positions that we're going to be in. I guess from your point of view, Craig, I guess not really sort of talked about leg locks and stuff.
Well, the heel hooks aren't legal, are they? Which I'm surprised about.
So
the tie hold.
toe hold's fine, straight ankle lock's fine. Can't do the Inoki lock, which I think is kind of like a straight foot lock anyway, but like he's clearly said you can't do that. So
It's because it can be construed as, you know, the ref's not going to be able to fully tell.
yeah, so like, you know, I think that, yeah, the main focus, I think, anytime you're on bottom, get on your side. It seems obvious, doesn't it? Because from a jiu-jitsu point of view, like we can kind of go onto our back off. Okay, catch wrestling, you know, normally we kind of go into our front and start building up from there. But like we were just saying, like, you know, you're going across the face line with, you know, your cramps and stuff, but also the chokes is a real consideration. You know, just being in this kind of position is that happy halfway, I think. So anytime you're not sure, just getting onto your side, like this is how I teach jiu-jitsu anyway. So like anytime you're on the bottom, regardless, getting on your side is really important. That's where you've got different planes of movement, so you can kind of move your hips in different ways. Whereas when you're on your back, you've really only got that until you get onto your side. But stuff you do already, stuff that's programmed into the catch that you do. So yeah, it's not about teaching a whole bunch of stuff. It's just, oh yeah, instead of going across the face line, go across the neck and you jump them. Yeah. Any other questions? Good question. I don't know if you get to see kind of your opponents and if you can do any kind of, you know, any sort of game planning beforehand. But
I think it's literally on the morning everyone weighs in, and we know, and then they're going to pair it on the morning.
Right. Okay.
And they pair it based on.
Yeah.
They don't do weight classes. They'll like, so these three lads are the same weight. Okay. And they'll put like a bunch of lads in the same group together, and these lads in the groups. Do you know, they're doing like that based on.
Oh, okay.
The famous instance with Curran Jacobs getting beat by the 10 fight guy, wasn't it? Did you go over any of essentially someone just literally just giving it the old?
No, I didn't.
He's guard pulling allowed in the
No,
rules?
you can't pull guard and you can't jump guard.
What about foot scooting?
So,
Is he saying?
And then you put him down and he's chasing you around like this.
I find that a problem. That's something I've been working on the past few months on trying to get past that.
so I would assume, like, if we end up in a butt scoop position, yeah, Craig gets all the grip, I step away, I score an escape.
Right.
And it's probably a question for Josh, you know, because he doesn't want inactivity.
Yeah.
Does he consider butt scooting as inactivity? Like, because obviously it's based more around wrestling, it's probably worth having that clarification.
Yeah.
But
Did you do much on chin to chin?
we hadn't done any sort of butt scooting, so we went through kind of guillotine from stood up. I mean, it's probably a good idea doing it now. So, like, I mean, from my point of view, you know, anytime missions, I like similar sort of stuff to Craig, where he kind of step forward to clear the grip. Because if I do a back step or anything, he's got this covered and he's got the hook here. But from a scoring point of view, if I start slicing, I'm scoring at points and stuff. So I don't really see how he can effectively use the butt scoot stuff. But yeah.
The only thing I thought was because there's because of that famous example.
Do more harm than good
Unless they're really good. Like you watch the Curran Jacobs match, the guy wins essentially butt scooting towards him and triangling him. So it's like, as long as he can, and by the way, I think it was a 1 second pin as well. So it's like, there are guys who are very good at like a Williams guard, at like a rubber guard, at staying off the back, applying that kind of, probably more Williams guard position. And you'll never get them anywhere near like the back if they're good at it. And
All I'm thinking is, people think there's a catch team coming over from England. There's probably a couple of guys who go like, I reckon I can jiu-jitsu him to death here, and then we just need to be ready for it, I think.
So I think let's just have a quick look at this now. And Craig had a real good point about passing guard. Like, we don't pass through, we pass around. And I think if we keep that as a consideration, this might help us from this position. But also be mean. Like, you know, if which side do you like?
Neither, I don't do this.
Okay. So from here, like that kind of clubbing away and creating that again separation, you know, that's what's going to help us get into these sort of scoring positions and snapping down, pushing them back, make them feel uncomfortable. Have you got anything?
Basically, it's also like Mark said, like I've always said, whenever I've looked at guard, you either want to be sat up, on your side, ideally both. And we just need to work on putting that in reverse. So if he's got any kind of like, so he's up and he's on his side here, he's kind of both. And I'm not going to be able to take both away straight away, but I might be able to like look at taking one away. So I can start to put him towards his back to try and like clear some kind of stuff, or I can put him down towards his side so he's no longer sat up. And then from there, but like, personally, I feel like if he's got the balls to do this in this comp, he's good. Can we agree that?
Yeah.
So my thought is, I don't want to play his game. I want to risk accidentally kneeing him in the face and getting it out.
Yeah.
Another good thing to look at is if I'm here and I've stepped into his guard and I feel like he's got a good guard. You've all had a can of Coke, right? You've all had the little pop, and then you pulled the lid off, right? You've gone like that, little hook. You've gone, and eventually it's going to go. You don't know which way. It's not going to be that way, that way. Eventually it's going to go, right? Same principle right here, which is when I'm here. I'm just going to go. It's going to go one way. I don't know which, but I'm just going to go that way, that way, that way, and kick the shit out of him like that, until eventually that will go, all gets bigger, and I can, if I need to take his chin off on the way out, I will. Gone, and I'm not playing that game.
And jiu-jitsu guys don't get that. They don't understand that. They're not going to be comfortable with that kind of that erratic movement and accidentally getting booed in the face. But it's a real good point and kind of playing around with it and just not accepting guard. The best way of not being in guard is don't accept guard. You know, so like if you again, sorry, Craig, just probably again. Accept being in guard. The times you have problems in guard is when you're alright, yeah, let's play this game. Let's go into here and then I'm getting taken over and stuff.
That's what happens at Curran Jacobs. He went down to the floor with him, didn't lie, but then he got beat.
Because he did a long time scooting around him, and everyone was like, you can't just do that.
Did he break his rib or something in that match?
Yeah, overstretched.
Apparently, we don't know.
I can't imagine Josh being okay with someone butt scooting around. I'd be very surprised because I don't think he wants that style of grappling.
Yeah.
So I imagine it'll be that, but if you attach, get away, it's your corner who should be shouting, escape.
Yeah.
1 point escape. Not the fighter focuses on what they're doing, but as a corner team, shout out.
So how do you think it'd work on this comp? Because I know in jiu-jitsu comps, I back out of someone's guard, and then they're all just waiting for me to go back into his guard. So I don't want to do that.
I feel like there'll be a amount of time when Josh is going to go, get off your
I
ass.
think people do that. And a lot of competitions do that now, actually.
But what I'm wary of is how, like, silly logistical stuff, like how big is the map space, right? So if there's a small map space that we're going to be competing in, the guy can probably hop across that map space on his ass pretty quickly, and as long as he's tied up with your leg, he's no longer butt scooting, he's playing an open guard.
Yeah.
I just think that's something to be wary of.
I think a really good example of this, and it's uncomfortable to watch, is Uriah Faber against Nicky Ryan. Because it's like watching a grown man beat up a child. Because he's constantly smacking him, disengaging. Nicky's butt scooting in and doing all that kind of stuff. And Uriah Faber is just making it horrible. So if you get a chance, I'll put it on the group and stuff. But I think that's a perfect example of kind of, you know, don't accept guard, be mean, and it's going to throw him off. And I'd be very surprised if Josh wants a jiu-jitsu match.
Yeah.
So I think that'll help. But like there are some quick easy pins as well, even if they're going into there and pulling on top. Like when Craig tried to push me backwards, I'm not accepting that because I don't want my shoulders on the mat. When he pushed me to the side, absolutely, I'm good there. That I'll accept that. So thinking about the rule set as well, like it just doesn't add up, does it? Because I can pin you from side control, I can pin you from not you know, quarter guard, half guard, all that kind of stuff. So, but I think this is one of the things you've probably got to go in with a little bit of an open mind, because the rules are still kind of being, it's the first time, isn't it? So like first time rule set, first time competition, you know, there are going to be, you know, mistakes, and there are going to be things that are going to happen. So it's not the best things here in the world, but you've just got to kind of have that as a, not, and just fight your fight, do what you do. Don't start reinventing stuff. Don't start doing stuff you don't normally do.
Yeah.
That's how I try and approach it anyway. I think of it that way. But yeah, might worth like doing some as you're building up towards a week, maybe doing some of the butt scooting stuff and just having that as a little bit of a warm up drill.
Get some Temple Planet lads in.
We're all getting done for weed, weren't we? You lads smell funny from Wigan. I didn't know there was that kind of thing. But yeah, cool. Anything else anyone wants to go through? Or I know it's been a lot of information and a lot of stuff, and I know some of it's familiar. I have printed out a couple of copies of kind of what we've done today, and I'll try and make sure I've got that done this afternoon as well with all the videos up. But yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Cheers, man.